Good morning, everyone. Just give me a second. I'm setting up some tech here, so I am working through some tech issues, but I just want to say good morning. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. So excited to be here with all of you. And this is the first time I'm doing something like this. Now, you might be wondering, what is Wellness Wednesday all about? Wellness Wednesday is really around just taking control of your wellness, your health, your mental, your physical, and just putting yourself into a really good place. And super excited to bring this to the world only because it's an area of my life that I've been incredibly passionate about for the last 2 years. I've really been going heavy on my health. If you've been following me at all, since December of 2021, I've made some big pivots in my health. I've been making some really big changes. When I think about wellness, I think about, you know, holistically what wellness is all about. Wellness is really around taking care of our physical, our mental, everything that kind of deals with us. And, the reason I'm bringing this to the world is, just to really take a minute to maybe make you aware of some things that you could do in your life that could really shift things around. Now, if you don't know about my wellness story, I really started in January of 2021. I just made a commitment. I was going to go for walks for 30 minutes a day. And, at that point, I was just tired of not feeling good, not feeling the energy in my life, just not feeling strong. And what ended up showing up for me was, I don't know about you, but the pandemic. I'm not going to blame the pandemic. I'm going to blame it on myself because I got to take accountability for it. I just wasn't doing all the things I knew I had to do. Whether it was, just kind of looking after my nutrition, making sure that I was getting my movement in. And, I picked up some really bad habits, right? Friday night was, chips and maybe some alcohol night. Not that I got heavily into the alcohol, but I was just making some really, really bad choices. And all those choices were starting to affect me in a really not so good way. So what I ended up doing is I kickstarted myself and said, hey, you know what? I am going to take control of this. I'm going to start doing something a little bit different. And where I really started my wellness journey was just going for walks for 30 minutes a day. Actually, this morning I posted a video. I was out for a walk asking you, do you get movement into your life? And it just starts with just doing something. There's a lot of times we think about doing something, and for the longest time, I thought about doing something too. And I did nothing about it because I just kept thinking about it. And I knew that one of the things I needed to do was just start taking action on some of the thoughts that I was having. So January, I walked for 30 minutes for 30 days, 31 minutes for 31 days. And that's what got me started on this like huge kind of health journey in terms of where I am today. And it started, and I was doing okay, and things were going well for me, but they weren't going as well as I wanted to. And what I started to realize is the nutritional side of what I was doing wasn't working out for me. And I got introduced to a good friend by the name of Pat, who introduced me to a nutrition system. Really, really changed things for me. What I didn't realize is I wasn't getting enough protein in my diet. What I realized, I wasn't getting enough nutrients and vitamins into my diet. And I just wasn't feeling strong. You ever feel like that? You ever feel like no matter what you're doing, what you're eating, you're just not getting yourself to where you want to be? That's where I was at. And that was March. So I got introduced to Pat. She turned me on to this new system. In addition to what I was doing with my movement, right? Getting my exercise in. I committed to doing something called a try. If you're not familiar with that, it's just a small triathlon. It's kind of like a sampler triathlon, really just to get your feet wet in the sport of triathlons. And the one thing I needed to do is just to get down 10 pounds, release 10 pounds so I could do it effectively. And because Pat got me onto this nutrition system, I was getting more protein into my body. I was getting more vitamins and nutrition. I really started to feel strong. By the time I got to my try, I was actually down. I'd released 20 pounds, right? And here's the thing. When you start to release weight that you're carrying around, you start to feel better. When you feel better, you actually feel more confident. And, one of the things that has really resonated with me as I've been going through this journey is when you're in poor health, you make poor decisions. When you're in good health, you make good decisions. And that for me has really shifted things in a really positive way. So here we are, fast forward 2 years later, I've learned about, just overall wellness things. And, I've started incorporating and living all these things for the last 2 years, getting more protein, getting more vitamins, getting adaptogens into my body to lower cortisol, which causes stress, to feel strong and to feel just more rounded and just to feel better, right? Like we are in an incredibly heightened state every day. Like I don't know about you, but there's like a lot of stuff going on, and the days are really busy. There's a lot happening, and there's things that we can do to take care of ourselves. And movement is one of those things. At a minimum, we should be getting in 30 minutes of movement. I'm like an advocate for just 30 minutes of movement daily, because if you can do that, that's the start of something. And for the most part, we don't. And if you work in tech, if you work in corporate, for the most part, you're sitting behind a screen for maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day, on calls, off calls, typing emails, putting requisitions together, doing a bunch of different things. Listen, as a coach, I'm going through my day too. I'm seated for the most part, and that just takes a toll on you. And it's so important just to get up and move 30 minutes a day. That's all. That's the foundation. If you can do that, you are on your way to wellness, right? And Wellness Minute is really around that. Just start shifting the little things that we do every day. And if you can't get out for 30 minutes, go do 5 minutes, go to even 2 minutes, get up, walk around your house, go walk around the outside of your house, whatever it is you need to do to just move. The other thing, and this is just something to think about as you're, going through this journey, if you're thinking about making a shift in your health and wellness, start looking at what you're consuming. And I'm not talking about just the food. Yes, the food's important. You want to make sure you're not having bacon and eggs every morning, because that is not fueling you. In most cases, it's probably draining you, and you're walking into your day already exhausted. Watch what you're consuming. This is what I've seen over the last 2 years. What I started consuming starts to change. And yes, food was a big part of it, making sure I was getting my proteins in, my vitamins, all the things I needed to do to feel strong every day, because we are nutrient deficient. I was having a conversation with a trainer of 30 plus years, David Wilkes, and he says, for the most part, most people are nutrient deficient. We are not getting the nutrients that we need into our body. Even if he even said, if you're eating fully organic, it's still not enough. You still need to get good stuff into your body. This is why we need supplements. So, watching what you put into your body is a big part of it. And outside of the nutritional aspect of it, which is a big part of the foundation of it, it's also all the things around you in your environment. One of the people I listen to almost every single day is Bob Proctor. I know he's no longer here with us, but Bob Proctor, Bob Proctor is, he reminds us of just, watching what we consume mentally, what we put into our heads. I see a couple of notes coming in through the chat and say, hey, Selena, good morning. Felicia, good morning. Good morning, Stuart. How are you, my friend? It's been a while. Yes, you did a 30-minute stationary bike ride yesterday. I love it. Great energy. Listen, it's the little things that we do every single day that gets us moving in a really positive way. And, if we can just shift that one thing, we can shift our lives. One of the things Heather and I talk about on the Say Yes Movement podcast, when you shift your mindset, you shift your life. It's those small, daily, consistent actions that really start to make a difference. So I really want you to think about wellness. And you might be wondering why. Why am I so passionate about this? Why is this a thing for me at this point in my life? Well, a couple of reasons. Hitting a big milestone birthday this year. But the other reasons is, my parents are no longer with me, right? So both my parents are gone. They both passed. And, the one thing I keep thinking about is, what would have life looked like if they were just in a healthier state? My mom passed at 63 and my dad at 73. And, could they have done something different? Could I do something different with my health to get myself to a place where I feel strong and powerful later in my years? And, what's been interesting, and I'll just share this quick observation with everybody. I keep meeting more and more people into their late 60s and 70s who are strong, who are powerful, who are flexible, who are mobile. And, they've got an energy that you would find in a 20-year-old, right? Like an excitement and a joy. And what I want to be talking about next week on the Wellness Minute is, some of the secrets that they've incorporated into their lives to feel like that. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but I posted this a couple of weeks. I posted this last week. There was a gentleman by the name of John. Keep meeting Johns in their 70s who are like super athletic. Um, John, who's 77, he was doing laps in the ocean. And when I walked up to him, I didn't realize how old, I didn't realize his age, but I knew he was a little bit up there. And I asked him a question. He goes, I asked him, I go, do you swim? Like, wow, you're out there in the water, you're in the ocean doing laps. He goes, yeah, I swim every single day. I've been doing it for 30 years. Monday to Friday, I swim, for 45 minutes every single day. And what's more and more interesting, I've met more and more people at the pool that are like that too, into their late 60s, 70s, doing laps in the pool, just getting out there and moving. And they've all said, if it wasn't for this, I don't know if I would be here today. And that's a thought I want to leave you with. Not that I want to leave you with a morbid thought, but I just want you to leave with the thought of, what can you do? What's within your control to get yourself into a place where you feel strong? And Felicia, good morning. Yes, great topic. What we eat is so important. Moving every day is both essential for our brain and our health, for our brain. Actually, you touched on something really important there. I was going to wrap up, but I'll take a second to talk about that. For our brain, yeah, absolutely. Brain health. We don't talk about that enough, right? Like we don't talk about what's going in here, all the good stuff. And what we put into here actually affects this. Our decision-making causes, what I hear from more and more people is they're feeling cloudy in their mind. They're not feeling strong. They're not making decisions, or they're not making right decisions. They're making unclear decisions. And, sometimes they just get lost because they just forget what they are. And these aren't people in their 70s and 80s. These are people in their 40s and 50s. So it's so important what we put into our bodies, because listen, this is the only really vehicle that we have. Everything else is, a car, a bike, whatever that is a nice thing to have, but your body is the only thing you really have up until the end. So take care of your body. And, as we go into Wellness Wednesdays, the one thing I'm going to talk about is just a few little things that you can do. And, today was just get yourself out there and just get some movement into your life. You're going to feel a lot better for it. Well, thank you for joining Wellness Wednesday Minute, or 12 minutes. And, thank you for being part of this. And thank you for sharing comments. Good morning, Dennis. Hey, how are you? Just wanted to just share that. And, if you got questions, or if there's things that you'd like to know about wellness just in general, and if you want to learn a little bit more about my story specifically, don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to share that with you. With that, I'm going to call it a day. Wishing you all a great one. Talk to y'all later. Take care.